Hello, future Cardinals. Welcome to Summer Orientation 2020 virtual style. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Rachel Pridgeon, and I'm the Director of Student Involvement and Transition Programs. We have set up these webinars to give our incoming students and their families the tools they need to be successful as they gear up for the fall semester. These webinars will be held live throughout the summer, and the recordings will be available on the orientation website, which is northcentralcollege.edu/orientation. For today's webinar, Ann Benjamin from Financial Aid and Jessica Holt from the Business Office will outline the nuts and bolts to successfully assign dollars and cents of college. Before I pass it over to them, if you have any questions along the way, please put those in the question box on the webinar dashboard, and we'll answer those at the end of the presentation. Knowing that you might have some more individual questions, Ann and Jessica will provide some opportunity to reach out to them directly, but if you have any general questions, we are happy to answer them at the conclusion of the presentation. In addition, should you have any tech issues, know that this webinar is recorded and will be shared later. So without further delay, let me pass it on over to Ann and Jessica to introduce themselves and begin. Thank you so much for being here, ladies.
Thank you, Rachel. All right. Thanks everyone for joining the webinar today. This is the dollars and cents presentation. We know that this is not the most fun or exciting part of college, but we do feel that it's very important. I will be speaking about the financial aid process and procedures from our office, and then my counterpart Jessica will be speaking about student accounts. To keep our two offices kind of straight in your mind, the Office of Financial Aid deals with any money being placed on your account, and student accounts deals with any money you are paying to the institution. So I know that there's kind of a confusion sometimes between which office is doing which function, but anything going on your account, scholarships, grants, loans, that is handled through financial aid. Any payments, 529 plans, anything like that is all handled through the student accounts office. And with that, we'll get started with the slides. So for those of you who choose to complete the financial aid process or doing the FAFSA, that is a process that gets completed annually. So every year, the federal government opens up the FAFSA application online in October. We do recommend that families complete that during the month of October, just because there are some sources of funding that can run out, and it's just easier to have your application in and off your radar and done. You won't hear a response from us generally until spring, but the sooner you can get the application submitted to us, the sooner we can start working on things. Another just general caveat about North Central. Now that you are a North Central College student, we consider email the main means of communication with all of our current students. We do encourage you to check your North Central email account daily and take action on anything that needs to be, responded to, or send it home to your parents if that's what you guys have planned as a family. You'll also be introduced to the Merlin student portal. Merlin allows students to do all of their administrative college business. So checking your grades, checking your financial aid, checking your bill, registering for courses, all of that happens through the Merlin portal. And it's very important that you familiarize yourself with that and get used to looking at all of the menu items and knowing where to go for certain information. And most of you have already received your award letter, and just in case something changes between the time that we packaged your awards and when you actually move on to campus, you must notify us of any changes of your housing or enrollment status. So please keep us in the loop if any of those things have changed since we first sent you your package. So for those of you who did complete the financial aid process, you would have received your financial aid award letter, which is your big packet with a folder of information in the mail to your home address. The same information is also available to you on the Merlin student portal. Your first year at North Central is the only time that you will get this mailed paper packet. From this point on, all updates and notifications will be strictly through the Merlin student portal. Please make sure that you and your family have sat down and really looked to understand your award letter. It gives you our best estimated cost. So for tuition, fees, room and board for resident students, all of the financial aid that you're eligible for, as well as any remaining balance due, so that you can plan accordingly about how you're going to take care of that. We really want your family to review it together and put together a plan on understanding this and knowing that how you're going to handle the steps once the financial aid disperses to your account. This is what the financial aid checklist on the Merlin student portal looks like. It has kind of a stoplight scheme where if your background is green, you're good to go. If you're yellow, things are in process. And if you're red, there are some urgent issues that need to be clarified on your account. So your financial aid checklist will tell you where you're at in kind of the paperwork and application status. And it will also tell you once your awards have been finalized, what types of aid you're eligible to receive. So I do encourage you guys to click around in there and make yourselves familiar with all of the information that's out there. And if you're confused about something, please reach out to our office for clarification. Again, this is just another view of the financial aid checklist on Merlin. The first screen was kind of someone in the documentation stage of just gathering the data for us to process an award letter. This reflects what it looks like after someone has already been awarded. So this lists out all of a student's aid eligibility. At North Central, we know that you are automatically going to want all of the free money that we can give you. So your grants and scholarships are already accepted on your behalf. Student loans, we know that some people do and some others do not take those. So for students who are interested in borrowing their federal student loans, you do need to actively accept those through either the paper process, which is what was mailed to you in your financial aid packet, or you can do it through the Merlin student portal. Additionally, all brand new student borrowers will need to complete 2 steps with the federal government: loan entrance counseling and the completion of the master promissory note before the government would send any loan funding to the school on your behalf. So you will get messages in the Merlin financial aid checklist portal if you need to complete those 2 steps. All right, we know that this is kind of a challenging time, and this is probably your first experience with dealing with student loans and being on your own away from home. Just keep in mind that now that you are a college student, the federal government does consider you an adult. So there is something in college protocol called FERPA, and all college-related business can only be shared with the student. So from this point forward, all communication from the college will only be to the student. So parents and students need to get on the same page about how you are going to share information or disperse information. Are you going to forward all emails home? Are you going to check in? Are you going to give parents your Merlin account access? We don't want you to be surprised by your billing and financial aid. We don't want you to get to the end of the semester and try to register for spring and realize that you have a registration hold on your account. Those things can be very stressful. So communicating and looking at things frequently on Merlin, you can avoid these types of stressful situations. So please work with your family to get a plan in place now so that you can each know who's doing what and what the status is of your student account. So planning for the academic year. In the summer, student accounts will generate your bill. Generally, fall bills get generated in July with a due date of right before school starts, and spring bills get generated in December, again, with a due date right before school starts. So while we do the billing semester by semester, all of the financial aid is generally done for the academic year at a time. North Central bills at one rate for full-time tuition. So anything between 12 credit hours a semester and 18 credit hours a semester is the exact same cost for tuition. So whatever you register for fall and how your financial aid and out-of-pocket remaining balance ends up being, that is very similar, or it should be almost the same as what it's going to be for the spring semester. We know that families are currently trying to get things in place in terms of 529 plans, parent loans, private student loans, finalizing the financial piece of paying the remaining balance. At this time, the best piece of information you can use to plan for your bill is your financial aid offer letter. The financial aid award letter or offer letter is not your bill, and so any estimated costs, music lessons, engineering fees, lab fees, anything that we didn't necessarily know about is not on your financial aid award letter, but it is the best ballpark figure we can give you at this time until the bills are actually generated for real. Paying your balance due. So at North Central, payment is due in full at the beginning of each semester unless you make alternate arrangements with student accounts. So student accounts does offer a plan called a business office promissory note to defer your payment until the end of the semester. We do also participate in a monthly payment plan with a third-party vendor. So that's an option to spread your payments over the course of the semester. In our office, we will be processing loans to help fund any remaining balance due. So we can talk about loan options and only borrowing what you need to cover your cost. So some student loan options, which if you've done the FAFSA and received your award letter, the federal direct loans would have been offered to you. The federal direct student loans can be a combination of subsidized and unsubsidized. The feds have just released the interest rate for the loans for the 2021 school year. They're going to be fixed at 2.75%. So that is the lowest it's been in a number of years. Given economic circumstances, all of the loan interest rates through the federal government have significantly decreased for the year. We have also included information in your packet about the Federal Parent Plus loan. This is a completely optional program. If your parent is willing and able to borrow a loan on your behalf, they are welcome to do that. The interest rate for that loan will be 5.30. We do offer some other programs at North Central. The Legacy Loan, that is offered through the admission office, and we do use a loan servicing agency, ECSI Heartland, for that. So if you've been offered the Legacy Loan and you're intending to take that loan, please be on the lookout for some additional information coming very soon. Some of you may also look into private or alternative student loans. These are obtained on your own through an outside lending organization. The student is the borrower, but almost all of these loans require co-signers. And before you get into those, please make sure that you are reading the fine print very carefully. The interest rate and the terms and conditions of repayment are all determined by the lender. So we don't have any specific guidance on which would be best for you. Your terms and conditions would all be offered based upon the credit history of both the borrower and the co-signer. Back to the Parent Plus loan. If your parent is interested or able to borrow a loan on your behalf, generally that provides better terms and conditions than a private student loan. We know the interest rate, it's fixed for the life of the loan, so the 5.30 is probably better than any private loan you're going to be able to find in the consumer marketplace. There is an approval or denial process required by the federal government for the Plus loan. So if a parent applies and happens to be denied, a freshman or sophomore level student will be offered an additional $4,000 unsubsidized student loan. A junior or senior level student would be offered a $5,000 additional unsubsidized student loan. If a parent goes through the credit check and is approved, the parent can borrow up to the remaining cost of attendance. So parents would use their FSA ID, that username and password that they used to sign your FAFSA application, and they would log into studentloans.gov and look for the Apply for a Parent Plus loan. At North Central, we also have a separate North Central College Parent Plus Loan form, we do require that to be returned to our office before we certify the loan. I know that's different than a lot of schools, but it is a requirement at North Central. So we are ensuring that we get the appropriate amount on your account. Private or alternative loans, you may start receiving mail solicitations or email solicitations for these types of things. We do consider these a loan of last resort. Again, the loan is in the student's name, but almost all of them do require a cosigner. Both the student and the cosigner will go through a credit check, and the terms and conditions for these are all over the board. So they can either have fixed or variable interest rate. Some require repayment while you're in school. Some require interest payments while you're in school. Again, borrow as conservatively as possible if you need to get into one of these, and read the terms and conditions very carefully before you commit to anything. Understanding debt. Again, this is probably many of your first experiences with taking a loan in your own name. With that comes a responsibility of knowing what you're signing up for. So at North Central, about 78% of our students borrow student loans. And the average student debt for a North Central graduate is about $33,000. At $33,000, that would make your estimated monthly repayment about $330 a month for 10 years. So I know that seems like a lot of money now, but once you become a working professional, we generally try to say, oh, the average student leaving North Central would probably be making $45,000 a year. We want to keep your college borrowing to what your first year's salary as a full-time working professional is going to be. Anything over that would be considered kind of excessive debt. So just, again, stay aware and plan accordingly. Some tips for minimizing borrowing is working while you're a student over summer break and holiday breaks. This can help cover at least some of your personal expenses and spending money. We also want you to have a solid academic plan so that you're in and out in 4 years. Scholarships and grants are awarded to freshman level students for a total of 4 academic years, and for transfer students for 3 years. So we want you to kind of come in, explore things like your first year, and then hopefully at the end of your first year, you'll have a very solid plan of what your interests and that sort of thing are, and you can work with your academic advisor to graduate in a timely manner. We only want you to borrow what you actually need. It's not a good practice to get into borrowing excess funding for living expenses or spending money. We really want you to be cognizant of what you're borrowing and be conservative with what you borrow. It is also good to plan accordingly and keep track of your borrowing. There are 2 things that we have made available to students. The National Student Loan Data System will track all of your borrowing of federal student loans. So the subsidized and unsubsidized will all be tracked at nslds.ed.gov. You will need your FAFSA FSA ID to access that system. We also have a tool on the Merlin custom menu called an estimated loan repayment calculator that will show you everything that you've borrowed at North Central College. So if you're coming in as a transfer student, anything that you've borrowed at a prior school would not be on the Merlin system, but all of your comprehensive borrowing at all schools through the federal loan program would be at nslds.ed.gov. It's just good to keep an eye on both places just so you're aware of what you're borrowing, from whom, the amounts, where, all of that stuff. It's really good to just kind of log into that every couple months and keep track. And with that, I will pass it to Jessica, who can talk about the student accounts functions.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Holt, and as Anne said, I work in the business office, so I oversee the student accounts area, which is billing and payments. I appreciate all of you taking time out today to listen to us speak. So first, I wanted to talk a little bit about accessing the student account. So as a student, Anne touched on that students already have access to Merlin. So what I'm touching on is how to give that access to either an authorized user or a parent, someone that you want seeing your financial information, such as your bill, your balance due, and then the ability to make a payment or even ask questions. So account access authorization can be given in two different ways, and I suggest doing both. The first way is students may give permission to their parent or guardian to access the billing and payment information. So that way you can contact the student accounts office either by email, phone, or even scheduling an appointment for an in-person meeting. This can be done by a form that is given by our office. It's signed off by the student, and this authorization can be revoked at any time. So it's very limited information that we're sharing. We're not giving out a student schedule or anything like that. It's just billing and payment information and ability to ask questions in regards to that. So I do suggest that all students do give this permission to anyone who would need access to their bill or the ability to make a payment. A second way that I also strongly suggest that students give to their parent or guardian is the ability to access electronic information online. So it's on Merlin. It's a different login area, but it's still on Merlin that you would give to an authorized user. You would set up as a student the authorized user's name and password, and then what information you would like them to see. So it's very limited still, but you can give access to view the bill once student accounts office generates that, and then the ability to make payments. So this part is very important because the authorized user doesn't have to wait to contact someone in student accounts to ask a question. They have that ability to log into Merlin and see that once it becomes available. Again, this is something that the student themselves controls, so they can give that permission, but then they can also revoke it at any time by logging into Merlin. But if you have a parent or guardian who is helping you with your billing, helping you with payments, I strongly suggest that you do give this access to them, you grant it to them. As far as billing for North Central College, so North Central College bills about 4 to 6 weeks prior to the start of each semester. So we do this on purpose to allow enough time just in case maybe you're finishing up financial aid awards, filling out your FAFSA. Hopefully that's all done by this point, but if for some reason you're still working on that, it allows enough time for that. And then if you're still trying to plan for payment to the college. So once we generate the bill for students, an email notification is sent using their North Central College email. So make sure as a student, you're looking for that. But then also an email notification can be sent to any authorized user that you've granted access. So both the student and authorized users would receive an email notification at this point, alerting them that a new bill is available. So for fall semester, those bills will be available most likely at the beginning of July. And then for spring, they'd be available the beginning of December. So students are responsible, whether they receive this notification or not, to access their bill. So that information is out there 24 hours a day that the students do have access to. We send an email notification just so you know when to look. But that, like I said, that information is there in July and then December. For North Central College payment due dates for the next academic year, fall is going to always be due the Friday before the semester starts. August 21st is for fall, and then January 8th is for spring semester 2021. At any point after those due dates, a late fee can be assessed to any unpaid account balance. So make sure to have those dates in mind and have any plans for payment in mind. So making payments to a student account. So like I said, you can pay online through Merlin. So that can be done by the student or any authorized user that's been granted access. We do accept all 4 major credit cards, as well as an electronic check. So the importance of the electronic check is there is no additional service fee to do this. Any credit card payment, there is an additional service fee. This is not paid directly to North Central College. It is paid to our credit card processor. That is 2.5% of the amount that you're paying. So we do suggest that you try to do an electronic check payment to avoid any additional fees on top of the tuition that you're paying. If you don't want to pay online, you can call over the phone using a credit card. Again, all service fees apply. Mail a check to North Central, attention student accounts, and we'll make sure that that payment gets applied. Again, making sure that you're keeping in mind any due date. If you're not paying in full by the beginning of the semester, as Ann touched on earlier, we do offer two alternatives. The first being an automatic monthly payment plan. So this is a monthly payment plan that's administered by a third-party servicer called ACI, or Official Payments. You could see either name when you're signing up. Those term payment cycles could be for 4 months or 5 months. The 5-month cycle will always start first. So for instance, for fall semester, the fall cycle will begin in July. That's when the first payment would be due, would be July 15th. So, and then the 5-month would start August 15th would be the first payment. The balance is just divided equally over either the 4-month or 5-month cycle. And enrollment is required for each semester. So if you choose to use this option for fall semester, you will not automatically be enrolled for spring semester. It is required each semester. So you can decide one semester you're using the automatic payment plan. The next semester, maybe you just want to pay in full, and you can choose either option. For those payments, they are automatically withdrawn, like I said, on the 15th of each month. So you can use an electronic check where there's no additional service fee for that, or you can use a credit card where that 2.5% service fee will still apply, but that is up to you. It is your choice whether you want to do the electronic check or card payment. Something to note about the automatic payment plan. So when you enroll in the payment plan, it takes into account the balance at that time, less any pending financial aid. If, as a student, you add a class or add a course where there's an additional fee assessed, sign up for a music lesson, those charges will not be added to your payment plan after enrollment. You would have to notify the student accounts office that your billing has changed and you would like those charges added to your payment plan, which we can do. Notify our office by email, phone, and we can get that added to your payment plan, but it will not automatically be added. And then there is a fee that you would have to pay to participate in this plan, and it's $40 per semester. It's a one-time non-refundable fee that would be assessed to you. And as another option, if you feel like the automatic payment plan is not for you, so it's a little bit more structured, you're looking for something maybe with a little bit more flexibility in payments, or you don't want to go through a third-party servicer, the Student Accounts Office offers a promissory note option. So as a student, you may sign a promissory note. This is not something that's signed by a parent or guardian. It must be signed by the student, unlike the monthly payment plan, which a parent or guardian could sign up for and enroll in. What this does is it defers the entire balance for that semester till the end of the semester. The fee is $75 to sign a promissory note, but like I said, this does offer a little bit more flexibility in payments. We don't require monthly payments. You can choose to just pay it at the end in full. You can make weekly, bi-weekly, monthly payments if you choose to do so, as long as that balance is paid in full by the due date on the note, which is most likely the end of the semester. And like I said, there's a $75 non-refundable fee for this. This fee is assessed to the student account and can be paid when you pay the balance in full at the end of the semester. So you can pay in full at the beginning of the semester. You can sign up for an automatic monthly payment plan where the payments are withdrawn on the 15th of each month, or you have the option to do a promissory note, which defers that entire balance till the end of the semester. So those are all the billing and payment options that I have to speak to you about. Ann and I think, covered a lot of information today. We appreciate you listening. We've given our location of our office, our emails if you want to reach out with any specific questions, which we encourage you to do. We are definitely here to help. So please feel free to reach out to us with any concerns or questions. But I appreciate you listening to us today. Thank you. And I'll turn it back over to Rachel.
Thank you to both of you. And we did have some questions come through. If we don't address your question, it might be because it's a little bit more individualized. And so therefore, feel free to reach out to any of the offices directly. And then I also wanted to provide an orientation email that can try to field out some of these questions as well. And that orientation email is orientation@noctrl.edu. Again, that's orientation@noctrl.edu. We're happy to help field some of those questions as well. But for some of these questions, I think we can easily address now. The first one is, how best do you both communicate with the students? Do you use their personal emails or do you use their North Central email accounts? And are they already being communicated with that way?
Okay, I can jump on that one. North Central College policy for current students. And once you become a student, which is what you are now, if you're going through orientation, we do consider you a current student. College policy is to only communicate with students through their official North Central College email address. That's how IT authenticates that you are who you say you are and how we can do any troubleshooting. So that is the primary mode of communication from this point forward. And for many of you, we probably already have started communicating with you through that channel.
Thank you. So our next question is for Jessica. Can you confirm that, so students right now are going to be starting to do their academic advising sessions starting next week for transfer students, and then starting June 1st for our incoming first year students. Can you confirm that the students are able to register for classes before official payment is actually needed?
Yeah, so payment is not necessary to register for courses for any student, whether they're new or returning. So yes, they will definitely be able to register for classes without being billed and having their account paid.
Great, thank you. And this question's for you. Will there be additional financial aid assistance for students due to the financial strain of the pandemic?
We aren't necessarily going to go out and offer students any additional financial aid up front. We do have a change in circumstance process in place. We know that all of your FAFSA data was based upon calendar year 2018 information. If your family's circumstances have changed significantly from 2018 until now, calendar year 2020, I would encourage you to complete the financial aid change in circumstance process. All of the forms for the different change in circumstance options are on the North Central College website under financial aid forms. And again, instead of using your calendar year 2018 data, our office can consider your family's calendar year 2020 information and make adjustments to your FAFSA and your financial aid awards based upon what your family is currently experiencing.
Thank you. And this one is also for you. The state of Illinois MAP grant is on hold by financial aid. Is that why somebody potentially might not be able to fully accept or decline their awards on Merlin?
The state of Illinois MAP grant is on hold for everyone. That is just a across the board thing until the state of Illinois signs the MAP grant into the final budget proposal. Typically that happens in late summer every year, so we're hoping it's on track to be that way again. That should not have anything to do with you accepting or declining any student loans. There's nothing further you would need to do for the MAP grant. Once the state finalizes that, our office will automatically accept that on your behalf and claim that funding with the state.
Thank you. Jessica, I think this one's for you. Is there a fee for using the third-party monthly payment plan?
There is. So it's $40 and it's assessed each semester, and that would be due upon enrollment.
Great. Thank you so much. The one question that came through is that the recent CARES Act had support grants for students at the end of the academic year who had had unexpected costs. Do you know of any support for incoming students in the CARES Act for this upcoming school year? And this might be for either one of you, if you happen to know.
I can respond to that. We do not know if there's any funding available for incoming students at this time. No.
And I would also add the institution really follows everything within the federal government and federal guidelines. And so currently the CARES Act is for this past academic year. The federal government has not addressed anything for this upcoming year just yet. But North Central College is on top of kind of everything that the financial guideline and the Department of Education is putting out there. And we're trying to stay in tight communication so that we're well ahead of the game should anything else need to be moving forward. Jessica, does the honors program cost more? Is there an additional cost just for being in kind of more of a high achieving program?
No, so all full-time students are charged the same rate. There's no difference depending on the program that you're in. The only thing that I can talk about right now is maybe the engineering program might have some additional fees assessed, but as far as a flat rate tuition cost, it would be the same for all full-time undergraduate students.
The only bit I might add to the honors program piece is that generally the honors program students are placed in a different room assignment. I think they try to get them all together in Ward Hall. So that cost for that particular hall is a bit more than the estimated cost listed on the financial aid award letter worksheet.
Thank you. So for our last question for both of you, with not everybody being at campus and kind of what is and you have some of the ways to get a hold of you listed here. What is the best way to get like a on the spot kind of question should anybody have them moving forward?
I would say for our office, it might be the same for financial aid as well. Email is going to be the best and the quickest way to get a hold of us. We are checking our email every day during business hours, so we try to respond as quickly as possible to all questions.
Yep, that would be the same for financial aid. We are periodically going into the office to check on files and that sort of thing, but officially our office is closed per the governor's orders right now. So definitely email would be quicker than a phone call or something like that.
Great. Thank you so much to both of you. That actually brings us to the end of our presentation. The recording of this presentation as well as the PowerPoint deck will be available on the website soon. And I want to thank both Anne and Jessica for their time again today. And I hope everyone has a great day and continues to stay healthy and well. Bye. Take care.
Thank you.